The chime of the bell beckons us into a sacred time. Welcome to the First Unitarian Universalist Church of Houston, where we widen love's circle by honoring the inherent worth and dignity of all. We extend a heartfelt and inclusive invitation to join us in meaningful worship and in service to the world. Buenos días y bienvenidos a esta comunidad donde ampliamos el círculo del amor honrando el valor y la dignidad inherentes de todos. We greet all those who join us this morning. We hope those watching the live stream will fill out the online attendance form and refer to the many announcements in the online order of service. We ask those here in person to take a moment to check in by scanning the QR code on the front of your order of service. Then, after the service, seek out and introduce yourself to someone you don't yet know. We have visitors every Sunday, so please help make them feel welcome. We thank Mike Hellman for his gift of music this morning, not only the special music a little bit later, but the prelude and the postlude. Now, please join Chelsea D'Souza and today's song leader, Jim McGahee, for our opening hymn.
Please open your gray hymnals and find hymn number 16, "'Tis a Gift to Be Simple." And please rise in body or in spirit. And this is a short one, so we're going to sing it twice. "'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, to bow and to bend, we shan't be ashamed to turn will be our delight till by turning come aright. 'Tis a gift to be simple, 'tis a gift to be free, 'tis a gift to come down where we ought to be. And when we find ourselves in a place just right, 'twill be in the valley of love and delight. When true simplicity is gained, we turn to bend, we shan't be ashamed to turn will be our delight, till by turning we come out right.
Come. Each of you, come into this place. Come, you with devotion to the act of unfolding, you who were created only a little lower than the angels. Come, you struggling under the weight of your humanness, you with unmet needs, and you with much to give. Come, you with your complexities and paradox and wonderings, you who are building new suns. Out of ordinary life, we arrive here to answer love's invitation. On the pulse of this new day, our coming together makes this space sacred. Come, let us worship.
Please join me in reciting our congregational covenant, which can be found in your order of service. Love is the spirit of our congregation. Service is our prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek truth in love, and to encourage one another. Thus do we covenant.
Life was a song we've been playing it wrong. As far as I can tell, it's about what you can package and sell. So hang on to your heartless cliches. I'll let go with the words on this page. Have a nice day, 'cause we'll make our own way. Well, if a song is the sound of the soul, it sure seems there's just as black as the coal. So forget what the company's selling. Just remember these stories I'm telling, all sweat and no pay. But that's okay, 'cause we'll make our own way. We'll make our own way. We'll have our own say. We'll carry this torch to the end, pass it on one day. So sister, sing me your stories, bend away at the strings of my soul. Let come what may, 'cause we'll make our own way. Let come what may, 'cause we'll make our own way. We'll make our own way.
This is the time when we typically sing out the youngest among us, but I don't see any of the smallest ones who would typically go out with John at this time, so we'll just skip over that part. We yearn for peace and quiet. And yet our world is currently experiencing a great deal of violence and cacophony. And so, in order to center ourselves and calm our minds, we have set aside this time to breathe together in peace and in quiet, to connect to that which is larger than ourselves. With intention and care, we enter into a time of stillness. This is a time that some call meditation and others name prayer. God of many names and mystery beyond all our naming, despite being gathered in community with many beloved who share our values, despite the many reasons for joy in our lives and reasons to express gratitude, Spirit of life, there are events in our country that distract and upset us. We are not the first in our country to fight oppression, hate, and division, and not the first in the world to fight authoritarianism and fascism. We are not the first to see the wealthy and powerful fight to keep poor and marginalized people disempowered, silent, and struggling. We know that on paper, if not in practice, our country was intended as a place created for and by equals and endowed with the inalienable rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Those who look back at our history may conclude those intentions were facades for cynically using people to amass wealth for a few, a country that loved things and used people instead of loving people and using things. Give us the strength to reclaim our highest ideals and make more real than ever a country that affirms the inherent worth and dignity of all people. We ask that our spirits not be allowed to be depleted and hardened by the forces of hate. We ask to be nourished and transformed by the movement for justice, resistance to authoritarianism, and the restoration of democracy. May we remember that all that we stand for propels us more than what we stand against. At the center of our work is love, joy, and the spirit of abundance. These are the things we are fighting for and the things we are fighting with. As we seek to build the beloved community, we invite others into an irresistible movement to widen love's circle, a love beyond belief. We pray in the names of all those known and unknown, present and absent, remembered and forgotten. We pray in the names of all helpers of humankind. Amen. We pause now together to lift up that which sits light and heavy on our hearts. Michael Morrison's mother, Jackie Morrison, recently passed away after a time in hospice. We send our condolences to the entire family. Many beloved people in our church family are recovering from accidents, illnesses, or medical procedures. Our hearts go out to each of them, and we send them healing wishes. Misha Berak is a prayer in the Jewish tradition for the healing of those whose names are called out by congregants. There are similar practices in the African, indigenous, and pagan traditions. We honor these rituals by saying aloud or bringing to mind those who we wish to be held by the loving embrace of this religious community. They are part of the great cloud of witness and memory, and we will, even if we do not know their names, hold them in our hearts. In this great cloud of witness and memory, amid this beloved community, we hear these names and hold them in our hearts. Let us remember the suffering and joy amid and among our community that we do not know. It has been written, "Let me find peace within so that I may be calm throughout. Let me find silence within so that I may find compassion throughout." In the spirit of love, in the spirit of hope, and in the spirit of compassion, I invite each of you to enter into a time of silent prayer, meditation, or reflection.
May the sense of mystery guide us through our journey. This is my prayer. This is my prayer. This is my prayer.
Each week, our morning offering is shared with an organization that shares our Unitarian Universalist values. Through our generosity, our work in the world is proliferated, and our values are brought to life. This week, we are supporting Meadville Lombard Theological School, one of 2 Unitarian Universalist seminaries in America. Since its founding in 1844, Meadville has prepared spiritual leaders to rise to the moment with agility, inclusiveness, equity, and global consciousness. Similar to our shared faith, Meadville Lombard has an institutional record of adapting to the needs of an ever-changing community with innovation and creativity. Meadville also serves as the only exclusive Unitarian Universalist archive in the world and maintains a rich, multi-religious collection that includes topics often overlooked or excluded by traditional archives. In such precarious times, our support of these values-driven institutions is critical to their survival. Those in our sanctuary will find the instructions for text giving in the order of service, and those watching the live stream will see the instructions on your screen. Our regular Sunday morning offering collection invites us to weave a tapestry of love and action. We ask you to give generously. An offering will now be gratefully received.
From you I receive, to you I give. Together we share, and from this we live.
Please join me in dedicating your offering with the words in your order of service. To the work of this church, which is weaving a tapestry of love and action, we dedicate our lives, and these our offerings.
Our first reading is an excerpt by Parker Palmer from Practicing Peace, a devotional walk through the Quaker tradition. God comes to us in the midst of human need, and the most pressing needs of our time demand community in response. How can I participate in a fairer distribution of resources unless I live in community, which makes it possible to consume less? How can I learn accountability unless I live in a community where my acts and their consequences are visible to all? How can I learn to share power unless I live in a community where hierarchy is unnatural? How can I take the risks which right action demands unless I belong to a community which gives support? How can I learn the sanctity of each life unless I live in a community where we can be persons, not roles, to one another. Herein ends the first reading.
The second reading is an excerpt from the book Undrowned, Black Feminist Lessons from Marine Animals by Alexis Pauline Gumbs. Pantropical spotted dolphins are synchronized swimmers and community builders. They travel in pods of hundreds, but within their pods, they organize into groups of 20 or less and time their diving and beautiful acrobatics to be exactly in sync. Out in the ocean, they participate in mobile interspecies collectives consisting of other dolphins, yellowfin tuna, and seabirds. Scientists have different theories about why they do this, most of which can be summarized in these words. Knowing who they're with helps them know where they're at and where they want to be. Maybe this is part of the pantropical resilience, because despite the serious and wasteful harm of decades of tuna net strangulation, they remain one of the most abundant species of dolphin on the planet. I think of the great organizers with pantropical visions like Claudia Jones, Shirley Chisholm, Mila Aguilar, Mama Tingo. Hallelujah, there are too many to name. And now I think of you. When I can't see the shore, I'm here timing my breath to yours, knowing collectively we can leap, we can dive, we can practice our faith in each other. Herein ends the second reading.
Please open your teal hymnals and find hymn number 1051. Please rise in body or in spirit, and we're going to sing We Are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of courage and fathers of time. We are daughters of dust and the sons of great visions. We're sisters of mercy and brothers of love. We are lovers of life and the builders of nations. We're seekers of truth and keepers of faith. We are makers of peace and the wisdom of ages. We are our grandmother's prayers, and we are our grandfather's dreamings. We are the breath of our ancestors. We are the Spirit of God. We are mothers of God. The star rises, sings to the universe who we are. For each child that's born, a morning star rises and sings to the universe who we are.
In the nursery of my childhood home hung a piece of art that read, "A child is not a thing to be molded, but a person to be unfolded." I, then my younger sister, and then our younger brother, slept near that art for all of our baby years. And last week I called my mom to ask her about it. She told me it encapsulated her parenting philosophy wholly. That everybody is their own unique person, and her job as a parent was to keep us safe and protected, but to help us have the experiences and confidence to unfold into who we were meant to be. What a tender sentiment. How easy it is to extend that kind of grace to a snuggly, little, satisfiable baby without much autonomy or mobility. I think anyone who has loved children can relate to the experience of gazing at them, feeling protective of their best interests and hopeful of their future. But how many of us can tap into that same generosity of spirit with the emotionally distant partner, noisy neighbor, needy relative, or person who voted against our rights? It's not so easy to gaze upon them with hearts in your eyes and say, "Oh, you're just unfolding into the person you're meant to be." That kind of work, building tolerance for what's different, is something that I love about Unitarian Universalism. Having found my way to this faith community in my early 20s, I quickly recognized that our spaces, when tended to with care, provide a sanctuary for many who have been rejected elsewhere, while also acting as incubators for diverse people to explore diverse relationships. The bounties of our spaces are many, though we are no more panacea of community than any other space built by fallible people with good intentions. I learned a lot about community from my being a part of my home congregation in Las Vegas. In a particularly changeful time, we cycled through 2 ministers and then quickly into a season of lay leadership. While there was strong shared belief that we belonged together, we were often faced with situations that highlighted how, despite our shared values, we used different strategies to bring them to life. And there really isn't a better way for me to illustrate that dynamic than to tell you about what happened with what we called the back lot. Now, the Unitarian Universalist congregation of Las Vegas occupies an old Elks Lodge in a lower-income neighborhood of the city. The church's proximity to families and communities with need meant that we never had to go far to practice widening love's circle. The land that was owned by the church included the church building itself, and then a couple acres behind the building that housed some trash cans and a small shed, and was otherwise relatively undisrupted natural desert landscape. What to do with this big, spacious plot of land was a recurring conversation. The ideas, some materialized and some not, included hosting a cell tower and using the earnings to maintain the property, converting the lot into a playground and a basketball court for the many families who were our neighbors, creating a garden or green space that served as a spiritual respite and small response to the food desert in that micro-neighborhood, giving the land back to the indigenous Southern Paiutes, partitioning the lot and selling that half for development, and many more. In the absence of decisions and follow-through, this space ended up blighted and sometimes occupied by houseless folks who would occasionally burn fires to keep warm, and who once burned down a tree on the property. The community coalesced around this issue, asking themselves, what are we to do? There were as many opinions, fears, and interests as people in the room, and these diversions of opinion were not unemotional or simple matters. For example, regarding the matter of our houseless neighbors, some members felt it is our job to offer as much safety and shelter as we can, while others felt unsafe around the people, their behaviors, and the messes that they left. They suggested using police force to have them removed, which pulled another complicated thread. Having cops invited into our space of sanctuary and safety, of equity and justice, made some people feel safer at the prospect, and others feel much less safe. I share that example because it's important to remember that just because our communities share a set of values doesn't mean that we have the same ideas for how to bring them to life. It seems that through time and space, crossing language barriers and political regimes, in intimate relationships or on a global scale, the gritty and difficult parts of building and sustaining community are evergreen, which means our commitment to working toward peace and resilience in community must be too. We've always been trying and failing and trying again to build beloved community, which is formed, Bell Hooks says, not by the eradication of difference, but by its affirmation, by each of us claiming the identities and cultural legacies that shape who we are and how we live in the world. I believe that our shared theology, which at its best fortifies us to meet our differences with curiosity and grace, may act as a guidepost in a time when building community is more fraught and maybe more necessary than ever before. When we come together as Unitarian Universalists, we decide how we want to be together. This is an attraction and an imperative of our shared faith, because in lieu of shared beliefs, we have shared behaviors. And in identifying them, we act alongside our siblings across time and space in the act of creating covenant. Covenant is a mutual sacred promise between individuals or groups to stay in relationship, to care about each other, and to work together in good faith. And this is idyllic in theory and always messy in practice. Parker Palmer, educator, activist, and author of our first reading, continues his commentary on community by saying, "In true community, we will not choose our companions, for our choices are so often limited by self-serving motives. Instead, our companions will be given to us by grace. Often they will be persons who upset our settled view of self and the world. And in fact," he says, "we might define true community as that place where the person you least want to live with lives." Community is the highest aspiration of the human heart, a place for us to embody together an aliveness and a set of ethics that may elude us individually. In a society and global moment that obsesses over and lauds individualism, our ability and willingness to nurture community is both a spiritual practice and a rejection of empire, which feeds on our separateness. Real community is what exists on the other side of convenience, calling us to heed our better angels and act in the interest of the common good. We don't do community because there is some assurance that it will always feel good. We commit to staying even when it doesn't. Many people draw parallels between nurturing a community and nurturing a marriage, playing the long game, not keeping score, extending grace, knowing it won't always be good and therefore not expecting it to be. But I've never been married, so I'm not going to dole out that kind of advice. The idea here is that we must, again, relinquish our expectations of purity and perfection in each other. As functions of white supremacy, these conditions do nothing but separate us from ourselves, each other, and our shared future. These popular norms of individualism and competition, along with call-out and cancel cultures, create fertile ground for us to focus more on the risk of coming together than the benefit of it. Most of us are not trained to have strong community muscles, yet we here share a value of interdependence, which calls us to remember that we are each but one tiny part of a much larger, more precious, regenerating community that spans to include ancestors, descendants, flora, fauna, and the land itself. It is a privilege to live within sight and sound of each other, to bear witness to the messiness that it is to become someone. As Adrienne Marie Brown says, we are brilliant at survival, but brutal at it. We tend to slip out of togetherness the way we slip out of the womb, bloody and messy and surprised to be alone. The belief in beloved community is something that anchors us both to the founding and to the future of our faith. So perhaps it's helpful to consider how we develop our skills in doing so. There's an article that I have been meditating over lately in which the author suggests that people interested in building resilient community de-escalate all conflict that isn't with the enemy. To de-escalate all conflict that isn't with the enemy. If what Alexis Pauline Gumbs, author of our second reading, tells us is true, that knowing who we're with helps us know where we're at and where we want to be, then how do we differentiate who is with us and who isn't? How do we know who the enemy is? The enemy is not the person who has disrupted your worldview. It's not someone who has caused you an inconvenience. It's not the person whose strategy you don't understand as they work to achieve your shared goal. Yet circles of people doing the work of creating more justice, equity, and love in the world are often mired down by infighting or the perception of the other as bad or by expecting some version of perfection. Systems of oppression rely on us to turn away from each other, to abandon each other when sticking together becomes inconvenient. That makes just enough space for the status quo to flow in and take over again. Patriarchy relies on women abandoning each other in hopes of gaining greater proximity to power through men. White supremacy relies on people of color abandoning each other in hopes of gaining greater proximity to power through whiteness. But these systems of oppression are ill-prepared for us to find ways to collaborate and build across lines of difference, to build coalition. Coalition building is the act of forming an alliance between groups to increase the overall power. Many voices speak louder than one, and many of the most important societal changes can be attributed to the power of coalition. One of the most famous coalitions between James Madison and Alexander Hamilton paved the path to the ratification of our Constitution. These two worked together with many others over 3 critical years to conceive, theorize, ratify, and pass the US Constitution. And this feat was not made possible by a best friendship built on tremendous similarity, as they differed nearly as much as 2 people could have. Hamilton's tendencies to be charming and loquacious and vain and immodest were foils to Madison's reserved humility, shrewdness, quiet intellect, and some would say overall frailty. Despite their differences, their cooperative efforts during a critical moment in time framed the governmental structure that we still mostly exist within today. And the impact of coalitions isn't limited to national, nation-founding politics. Coalition building between children's advocates, religious leaders, and unions to enact child labor laws in the early 20th century paved the path for workers' rights that protect us still today. And the vibrant political activity of the 1950s and 1960s saw coalitions support the passing of strong, life-affirming legislation, including the Civil Rights Act and the Voting Rights Act. In our shared faith tradition, coalitions have been formed and maintained to bring our values-aligned work to life, including the UU Climate Justice Coalition, Unitarian diverse and revolutionary UU multicultural ministries, the UU Women's Federation, and so many more. Through these various coalitions within Unitarian Universalism, where people have coalesced around a shared identity or interest, our circle of love has been made wider, more accessible, and more impactful on not just us, but the global community. And coalitions within our wider Unitarian Universalist community can be credited with achieving many of the most important steps forward. This includes the hard work done in good faith by strongly convicted people who organized according to their values in 1961 that led to the merger of our two origin faith communities. It was also coalition work that codified the eighth principle, a statement of explicit anti-racism, adopted by nearly 300 Unitarian Universalist communities and congregations, including our own. And most recently, in the analysis of our own founding documents, our co-religionists coalesced to replace our sources and principles with love-centered values. And I think it's really important not to romanticize this work or shroud it in an ideal of ease or certain success. The work of coming together to accomplish a shared goal is as flawed as every person along for the ride. You don't have to look far, either in Unitarian Universalism or the wider world, to find examples of hard-fought coalitions who fell short of their goals or were waylaid by opposite and stronger forces outside their control. And even our own striving religious community has seen coalitions banded together in support of quite unsavory positions, including anti-abolition, eugenics, and apartheid. And back to the Constitution for a moment. Not only did James Madison and Alexander Hamilton not end life on good terms, by their respective deaths, they had each spent years ascribing bad motives on the other. You could even say that they were partaking in some 18th century cancel culture. Their ideologies diverged so much that not only did they lose their friendship, but many of their differences are entombed in the political structure that we exist in today. And in retrospect, perhaps their coming together and finding such verdant common ground in the first place is the greatest surprise of all. I think these true and messy stories without fairy tale endings are important as we understand coalition building as a function of community, especially at a time when severe division foments so much distrust and violence. Every day, we see how the power of the people isn't always used for the collective good. But every day, we also see how the power of the people is sacrificed because we are too busy, too tired, or we lack the imagination or skills of communicating across difference. These systems of oppression that we are committed to dismantling are relying on our unwillingness to coalesce around what we have in common. The power of coalitions comes not from successfully establishing echo chambers of people with the same identity markers and viewpoints, but from finding consensus in diversity, from finding common ground that is firm enough to build on despite differences. Unlike communities, which have the potential to serve us for our whole lifelong, coalitions rise and fall based on necessity. These agreements that we make to intentionally come together in recognition of a shared desired outcome is a chance for us to put our commitment to interdependence as a value into practice. And in this season of considering and practicing dissent, it's good for us to remember that while what we believe in and want to be true in the world is a strong tie that binds us together, what we want to end and defund and prevent are also things to coalesce around. The US Constitution is a tool that anticipates and supports political factional disagreement, and I think our covenants do the same. These documents solidify our commitment to behave in a certain way, especially in groups, even in times of discontent, without expecting perfection. Perhaps you're thinking that right now is a precarious time to build an argument on the strength of the US Constitution, as every day we witness the attempt of its dismantling piece by piece. But then again, we can only be sure that tools work when we use them to do the job that they were meant for. September 17th was Constitution Day, which commemorates the document's creation and adoption. In this moment that some scholars are calling constitutional failure or collapse, legal scholar Aziz Rana suggests that this moment calls us not to rally around the Constitution, but instead to protect and expand meaning-making institutions that incorporate the values of democracy and solidarity into everyday life and provide services to the community. And I'm going to read that one more time. This moment calls us not to rally around the Constitution, but to protect and expand meaning-making institutions that incorporate values of democracy and solidarity into everyday life and provide tangible services to communities. That sounds a lot like the work that we do here. The founding and framing documents that shape our world and community are the best efforts of imperfect humans to respond to needs at a particular moment in time. But it is our charge to infuse these static words on a page with the energy and sustenance needed to carry us through difficult times. Our guiding documents, Constitution, Covenant, these are aspirational. The community that we build daily in our homes and hearts and public spaces, these are aspirational too. They say we'll protect and practice freedom, liberation, and change. They say we'll try to dwell together in peace and seek truth in love and encourage one another. They do not say that this will be easy or convenient or without conflict. They do not glorify one strategy above another. And if they're concerned with true thriving, they generally don't lock the door behind anyone. So this is the lesson for us. Too often in community, we are willing to believe that our opponents are not just wrong, but are our enemies. We allocate finite, precious time to fostering contempt, and we obscure our own ability to do critical work in the world. So as we work to lead and live and love in systemic collapse, let us remember this, that solidarity is power plus love plus direction. What we generate together, based on what we believe should be true and not, what we're willing to fight with for our whole lives, with our whole hearts, is the string that connects us forward and back in time to all those who have built before us and to all those sweet babies yet to unfold into who they're becoming. When we come together and create covenant, we are able to receive the love, grace, belonging, and forgiveness that already exists within us, mirrored back by others in a sacred affirmation of interdependence. This happens especially in spaces of difference. As seekers, we willingly choose to love each other and stay in relationship over and over, again and again. And in this way, although the road may sometimes be rough, by leaning into the transformational power of our faith, we can always begin again in covenant to love. May it be so.
Please open your gray hymnals and find hymn 121 and rise in body or in spirit, and we'll sing our closing hymn, We'll Build a Land. We'll build a land where we bind up the broken. We'll build a land where the captives go free, where the oil of gladness dissolves all mourning. Oh, we'll build a promised land that can be. Come, build a land where We'll build a land where we bring their good tidings to all the afflicted and all those who mourn, and we'll give them garlands instead of ashes. Oh, we'll build a land where peace is born. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make and create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. We'll build a land building up ancient cities, raising up devastations from all, restoring ruins of generations. Oh, we'll build a land of peace. Come, build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make and create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream. Build a land where the mantles of praises resound from spirits once faint and once weak, where like oaks of righteousness stand her people. Oh, come build the land, my people we seek. Come build a land where sisters and brothers, anointed by God, make and create peace, where justice shall roll down like waters, and peace like an ever-flowing stream.
Please join me in reciting the words to extinguish the chalice, which can be found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
As we break our sacred space, may the abundance and care that we fostered here spill out into our wider world. May your work of living and loving be infused with a spirit of tenderness and the support of this community. May you carry softly the pressures of the world and always remain open to the mystery of what's to come. Go in peace and power.
It's been a long, hard day. Ain't a damn thing go my way. From the time the sun come on to the time I hit the hay. All the bills that I can't pay seem to pile up more each day. Love letters from my creditors that I'll just throw away. I go to work can start the grind. And the foreman, he won't mind. I ain't slept a week in days, and my rent's a month behind. I come home and I see you. You fill me in on the bad news, and we sing another verse to this American Main Street blues. Grab the keys, honey, hammering down headlights on the highway. Gravity, honey, all thing gonna bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight. We've all gotten used to our daily doses. I'm still holding out for bread and roses. Well, if you avert your eyes, you might not notice where there's mud, the most times it's a lotus. At the keys, honey, hammering down headlights on the highway. Gravity, honey, oh, the thing gonna bring us down tonight. Grab the keys, honey, hammering down headlights on the highway. Gravity, honey, oh, the thing gonna bring us down tonight. Gravity, oh, the thing gonna bring us down tonight. Gravity, oh, the thing gonna bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight. Bring us down tonight.
Thank you for joining us. We want to know who you are and would love to connect with you. Please fill out the link to the online attendance form, and if you are on YouTube, click like and subscribe. If you're interested in joining our congregation, email us at membership@firstuuhouston.org. Thanks so much.